5-2 ratio, rates, and unit rates. I can work with ratios and rates.
Good, and we also did some proportions in here too. So thank you, Anna. This is 5.2, but it is the first, or 5-2, it is the first lesson of chapter 5. Remember, we skipped 5.1, we'll come back to it. Vocab is highly important. Equivalent ratios are ratios that are the exact same thing, you just reduce. Is a ratio a rate?
Yes.
Okay, if a ratio compares two quantities and a rate compares two quantities, they are the same. Is a rate going to be a ratio? Sometimes, right? Okay, so a ratio could have two quantities that are the same type of quantities being compared. Rates have to have two different units. Another word for units is what? Labels. Everyone say labels. Units and labels are the same thing. Unit rate and unit price always have what as their denominator? 1. Fun ratio facts. Just let you look at that real quick as we're scrolling through. 3 different ways to write it, which you can see. Calculating unit rates and unit prices. So if I ask you to calculate a unit rate or a unit price, you know that you have to reduce or divide until you get a second number of 1. So in this tennis ball example, we had to calculate what was the price per pack. Per pack would be per 1 pack for each of them in order to figure out what the best deal was. And the best deal was the 9-pack. It cost $2.55 per pack, whereas the rest were just slightly more expensive, which is usually the case in real life. Miles per gallon, a lot of people keep track of how far their car drives per gallon of gas, and that would be also a unit rate. Yes, no?
Yes.
Oftentimes when you hear the word per, you can assume, not always know, but assume you're going to be talking about a unit rate. And then down here, ratio tables. Are ratio tables helpful?
Yes.
Yes, ratio tables are really helpful. Ratio tables, in order to be a ratio table, have to be proportionate. So how do you get from 2 years to 6 years? Times 3. How do you get from 7.2 to 21.6 feet? Times 3. So if they're proportionate, you're going to multiply the top number of your ratio, because this is like a fraction, and the bottom number of your ratio by the same number. Okay, we didn't talk about this, but to go from 6 to 2, how do you do that? How do you go from 21.6 to 7.2? Divide by 3. So again, ratios, proportionate ratios, can be multiplied or divided by the same number. Now realize though, to go from 2 to 6, what are we adding? 4. From 7.2 to 21.6, what are we adding?
14.
Okay, so that's not necessarily what you can go by. You can't say, well, if I'm going to add 4 years to 2, I'm going to add 4 to 7.2. That doesn't work, does it? So proportions are only dealing with multiplication and division. And then down here below, the last problem, we talked about our oil spill. We set up 2 different things. We set up a proportion using our information. So an oil spill spreads 25 square meters every 1/6 of an hour. We typed in all of the information we knew. We knew that 25 meters squared spread 10 minutes, right? In 10 minutes, that's how far it spread. Yes or no?
Yes.
We also could say 1/6 of an hour, but we converted 1/6 of an hour in 10 minutes. We knew that. We wanted to know how far it spread in 120 minutes. Yes or no? So this right here, this guy was the thing we didn't know. That's all we were calculating. And to calculate it, same thing we just talked about, to go from 10 to 120, you multiply by
12.
So you multiply the top number by 12. And if that was still confusing to you, you could draw a picture, and in this case, our picture is a ratio table. And I think Hayden and Jake told us this. 25 square meters in 1/6 of an hour. In 2/6 of an hour, we would have
50.
in 3/6 of an hour, we would have
75.
in 4/6, we would have
100.
and this thing is going to keep on going until you get to 12/6 of an hour, which is 2 hours, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I think Ariel and I did that like together too, really quick, like in our heads, because it was easy numbers to count by. I went up by 6 or 10 minutes, and she went up by 25 square meters. Questions, comments, quandaries, quibbles, quotes, queries? The best thing I think you said is, if in doubt, use a
Ratio table.